Dzień za dniem, noc za nocą, nasze życie upływa pod bezkresnym niebem. Marzymy o rzeczach wielkich, ale życzymy sobie rzeczy prostych. Myślami wybiegamy do przodu, ale jesteśmy świadomi, że życie toczy się tu i teraz. Spoglądamy w niebo z dobrego miejsca na ziemi.
Halo, witajcie. Czas na lekcję języka angielskiego. Tę lekcję poprowadzi dla Was pan Grzegorz Fidala. Poczekajcie jeszcze chwilkę, musimy ją odtworzyć, odpalić i puścić.
Hello everyone, welcome on today's lesson, and today's lesson is going to be very special because of the fact that we are going to have a very special guest, and this will be not just one person but the whole family. For today's lesson I decided to invite the British royal family, and this lesson is going to be delivered in English. But even if you study in primary school, you should understand everything I'm going to say about the British royal family, the Queen, and other people in her family you should know. So we are going to start with a picture, and I will be asking you questions from time to time about whom you can see in the pictures. I think it's not going to be very difficult, but there might be some phrases, some words worth remembering about family members and things connected with family. So first of all, the person we are all looking at is the British Queen. And of course you know that her name is Queen Elizabeth, because this is the longest reigning queen in the world. She stepped into the throne in 1952. I'm going to talk about it later in more details, but just to give you an example, if you think about your parents, if you think about your grandparents, how old they are, how old you are, think about the fact that the Queen herself, Queen Elizabeth II, was born 94 years ago. So she is still active, she is still the reigning queen, and the time she has been doing her job, she's been occupying her office, is 68 years. So 68 years on the throne is even longer than my parents are alive. So I'm really impressed, and all the world is impressed, because she has been the longest reigning queen, the longest reigning monarch in the history not only of England but of other countries we know. So coming back to the basics, this beautiful lady is Queen Elizabeth of England, and looking at a couple of facts from her life. She was born in London on the 21st of April 1926. So she was born very short after the First World War. She lived through the Second World War and many other historical events that we right now read about in the books only. She stepped into the throne after the death of her father, King George IV, in 1952, and she's been doing this role without any breaks until now. The house she represents, the family she belongs to, is called Windsor. So if you were ever thinking about the fact, what is the surname of the British Queen, that's the word, Queen Elizabeth Windsor, and all her children have the same name in the files. If they sign some official documents, it's, for example, Prince William Windsor, etc., etc., etc. Now, the Queen has a husband who is even older than she is, because Prince Philip is 98 years old. But what is funny is that her husband is not the king. This is the specificity of the British monarchy and the British system, that if you are the king, if you are born in the British royal family, your wife will be called the queen. But if you are the queen, and you are born in the British royal family and get the title of a queen, your husband will not be the king. But this is something that you should know only if you are really interested in the British monarchy system. Speaking about the rest of the family of the British Queen, she was born in the family of King George IV, whose original name, because he wasn't born as George but Prince Albert, her mother's name was Elizabeth, so just the same as hers. Sometimes she was referred to, because she died a few years ago, as Queen Mother. Queen Elizabeth has got 4 children, 3 sons, Charles, the oldest one, Andrew and Edward, and 1 daughter whose name is Anne. She has also got a sister, Princess Margaret, and I'm going to show all of them to you in a minute. Now, thinking about the full title, because we always speak about the Queen Elizabeth of England, the Queen of England, and we think that this is enough. No. The full name of her office, the full name of her role is Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. So all these names give us the idea of why the British Queen is so special, not only for English people, but also for other people in many different parts in the whole world. First of all, because she's the Queen of Great Britain, which in total sums up Wales, Scotland and England. She's the Queen of Northern Ireland, which is a separate island, and other realms and territories. As you may remember from your history lessons, you may know that the British Empire was the biggest empire in history, which reigned from Southeast Asia, from China, through India, Australia and other countries. These countries, right now, although they do have their own presidents, prime ministers and leaders, political leaders, they still observe the Queen of England as the head of the country, and they belong to an organization of group of countries which is called the Commonwealth, which we translate into Polish as Brytyjska Wspólnota Narodów. So these countries still believe and still claim that the Queen is the highest ranking leader of their country, but she has only a decorative role rather than some specific duties, just like it still happens in Britain. Because if we think of Britain, the Queen still has a very important role, although some people say that monarchy is just a decoration and most important decisions are taken by the Prime Minister. It is still the Queen who appoints the Prime Minister, so it is the Queen who is the person who has to officially confirm that this person can be the Prime Minister of England. In the same way, the Queen opens and closes the British Parliament. So whenever a new Parliament is chosen, is elected, the Queen opens the first session to say that this Parliament is legally acting as the most important governing body. Now, apart from that, Queen is responsible for signing off official documents, so stating the law, and she is also the supervisor of the British Armed Forces. So still, the Navy or the Air Force is still called the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy, which means that this is the Queen who can still declare war on another country. And the last option, the last duty of the Queen is that she is the person who is responsible, who is the symbol and the representative of the worldwide empire, which is the Commonwealth Organization, which I mentioned a couple of minutes before. So that's about the duties. Now let's go to meet her family, because her family, as you can see in the picture, is really huge, and there are lots and lots of people in the family tree. I know that it's pretty hard to read and see who is the most important person, or who are the most important people in this one chart and one picture. That's why I decided to divide it into a couple of smaller slides. So first of all, the first line, the upper line, as we can see, is the Queen and her husband Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. As I said before, Philip is not officially the king. Another person who will be declared the King of England will probably be Charles, Prince of Wales, who is the oldest son of the Queen. The British tradition stated that it is the oldest child of the royal couple who becomes another king or queen. It started with Queen Elizabeth because her father didn't have any sons. That's why she was the first woman to get the title of a queen. And in the same way, her husband, Prince Philip, was not nominated to be the king, because in this way he would be more important than the member of the royal family. But in the same way as we think that Prince Charles, the oldest son, is the first in line to sit in the throne, the same happens with his children. Because if we think about the line of succession, which in Polish we translate into prawo dziedziczenia, czy linia dziedziczenia, which means who is the next person to sit in the throne of Great Britain after the Queen dies. After Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, we have his son, his oldest son, whose name is William. At the moment, the royal title of William is Duke of Cambridge. He's got one brother, Prince Harry, who used to be the Duke of Sussex, together with his wife, Meghan Markle, a very popular celebrity and a person you might know from the internet or from the press. But you may have also heard that a few months ago, Prince Harry and Meghan decided to step away from the public duties of a royal family member and to start their own life as normal citizens, normal people. So they decided to move to Canada. They started living there. And since then, Prince Harry wants to be called no longer Prince Harry, but just Harry. So sometimes you may refer to Prince Harry as just Harry. But let's look down on next candidates to the British throne. As you can see, Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, has got a very beautiful wife. Her name is Catherine. Her family name is Catherine Middleton, so she became the member of the royal family after getting married to Prince William, and until now they have got 3 little kids, the oldest of which is Prince George. So if such situation happens that Prince Charles dies and Prince William dies too, another person to sit on the throne will be not his brother Prince Harry, but will be the youngest child of Prince William, which is Prince George. Then Princess Charlotte, and the third, the youngest one of Prince William's children is Prince Louis. Of course, as members of royal family, they do not only have one name like us, or 2 names. Usually the members of British royal family have 3 or more names. So, for example, is Prince Louis Alexander something Windsor. This is his full name. All right, let's move on to some questions for you and some words connected with family. Who am I? Do you recognize this person? I'm sure you do. So we know that this is Prince Philip. Prince Philip, whose royal title is Duke of Edinburgh, and how can we finish the sentence, I'm the Queen's who? So we can say, first of all, I'm the Queen's husband, if we were to finish the sentence, but there is another word you can use in this situation, which is spouse. I don't know if you are familiar with this word, but this is the word in which you can use both for a man and for a woman. So in Polish, we can translate it as małżonek or małżonka. So I'm the Queen's husband or I'm the Queen's spouse. Another person in the royal family, so the oldest son and the next successor to the British throne, is this man who is more than 70 years now, and he's the longest waiting prince to become the king. His name is Charles. His title is Prince of Wales, and he is Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip's firstborn. And again, how can we finish the sentence? Of course, we can go with a simple son, because he is the firstborn son, syn pierworodny, syn najstarszy, but we can also use a more complicated and more eloquent word, descendant. And descendant means potomek. So Prince Charles is the firstborn descendant of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. Let's move on. Prince Charles has a wife, and this person that you can see in the picture is his wife. Her name is Camilla. In her private life, her first surname used to be Camilla Parker Bowles. Right now, her title is the Duchess of Cornwall, and she is, surprise, surprise, the second wife of Prince Charles. And you may think, if Prince Charles is the Prince of Wales, why Princess Camilla is the Duchess of Cornwall? Duchess is another name we can use as refer to księżna, but this is księżna of a lower rank. So first we have princes, then we have dukes and duchesses. So Camilla is the Duchess of Cornwall. She's the second wife of Prince Charles, and some of you who also are interested in history or celebrities or the royal family may know that before Princess or Duchess Camilla, Prince Charles was married to this woman, and you may have heard about her as a princess of human hearts and princess of beauty. Her name was Diana. Diana Spencer, that was her original name. When she got married to Charles, she got the title of Princess of Wales. That's why Princess Camilla now is the Duchess of Cornwall. They got married in 1980 or 81, I don't remember specifically right now, but what happened in 1996 is they decided to end their relationship, to end their marriage, which was a huge scandal in the British royal family because it has never happened in this way before. Usually when when the king lost his interest in his wife, he decided to cut her head or do something even more scary, and this was happening a couple of hundreds years ago. In this situation, these two, Prince Charles and Princess Diana, decided to divorce, and this was the first official divorce in the succession line of the royal family. It happened in 1996. Unfortunately, about 1 year later, Princess Diana, who was a really loved celebrity and the most popular person at that time, died in a car crash in Paris on the 31st of August. So very soon we are going to have another anniversary of her death in a car crash in Paris. But what we have from the relationship, from the marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, are their two children. First, their firstborn son is Prince William. And I really like this person because he was born the same year as I was, in 1982, and I am a few weeks older than him, so I used to observe the way he was growing up, he was studying, and he was getting married because it was happening for us in more or less the same time. So Prince William, who is the Duke of Cambridge, is the firstborn son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. But what is his relation to the Queen? Well, of course, he is the grandson of Queen Elizabeth, and the Queen is his grandmother. Now, Prince William, as we said before, has a brother. His name is Harry, Prince Harry, or just Harry, as you prefer to say. But now let's look at his relations with other people in the royal family. So Prince Charles, who is Prince Charles for Prince Harry? Of course, he's a father. Princess Diana is his mother. But who is Duchess Camilla for Prince Harry at the moment? You may not be familiar with this word, but it's a good time to learn a new word, which is stepmother, which is macocha. So if a couple divorces and a man gets another wife, she becomes a stepmother. Now, Prince William is, of course, the brother of Prince Harry, or just Harry, as we said. Another person in the royal family is this lovely dark-haired woman. Yeah, I mentioned her name before, so her name is Kate Middleton. Her name was Kate Middleton. Right now, we refer to her as Princess Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, who is the wife of Prince William. Now, what is her relation to Prince Charles and Prince Harry? Well, Prince Charles is her father-in-law. In Polish, we translate it as teść. And another person she is related to, Prince Harry. In this situation, Prince Harry is her brother-in-law, which is szwagier. If we want to make some further collocations with this ending in-laws, a father-in-law to będzie teść. Teściowa, in the same way, will be mother-in-law. If brother-in-law is szwagier, szwagierka will be the sister-in-law. And the last group of people who we also called with this ending in-law are a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law, which in Polish we translate as synowa I syn by marriage. Okay, let's look at another person, and this person is not so famous, and you may not be so familiar with her picture, but she is important because of the fact that she is the only sister of Queen Elizabeth. Her name is Anne. Her title is Princess Royal. Sorry, she's not the only sister. She's the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And she doesn't have any specific role. She doesn't have any specific area to be the leader of. She is just the Princess Royal, which means księżniczka królewska. All right. So looking at vocabulary that we mentioned in this lesson, let's repeat. Husband, czyli mąż. Wife, czyli żona. And spouse, which is małżonek lub małżonka, depending on who we are talking about. Mother and father, I'm sure you know these words, but you may be not familiar with stepmother and stepfather, which stand for macocha I ojczym. In the same way, we can have stepson and stepdaughter, just like we have son and daughter in the traditional family. Now, another word we can use instead of son or daughter is descendant. Descendant jest słowem, którego możemy użyć zamiast syn lub córka jako potomek, najstarszy potomek, najmłodszy potomek, the youngest descendant, the oldest descendant, etc., etc. Grandson and granddaughter are the children and are related to the Queen. If we think about grandchildren of the Queen Elizabeth, we have William and Harry, czyli mamy dwóch wnuków królowej angielskiej, Williama i Harry'ego, ale mamy dużo więcej great-grandchildren, czyli prawnuków. So there are, for example, George, Charlotte, Louis, and also Archie, who is the son of Prince Harry. We didn't mention about him. Then we have sister-in-law, brother-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law, which are all members of your family by marriage, czyli ci członkowie rodziny, którzy dołączają niejako do rodziny z powodu małżeństwa. Mamy tutaj mother-in-law, teściowa, father-in-law, teść, sister-in-law, szwagierka, brother-in-law, szwagier oraz daughter-in-law, synowa, and son-in-law, Tak, to nie jest syn, to zięć. Po polsku son-in-law to będzie zięć. All right. So this is all when it comes to the members of the British royal family. And of course we could speak more and more about all of them. But I would like to finish with a phrase which is repeated by the British very often when they speak about the Queen and when they sing about the Queen. God save the Queen, Boże chroń królową, which may change the moment the Queen dies into God save the King. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention. That's all for today.
I my dziękujemy panu Grzegorzowi. Do zobaczenia na następnej lekcji języka angielskiego.
Goodbye.